He wasn't born into wealth. He wasn't handed an empire. He built one, mile by painstaking mile, and in the process, he connected a nation from coast to coast. This is the story of James J. Hill, the empire builder. James Jerome Hill was born in 1838 in a small log cabin in Canada. His early life wasn't easy. When Hill was just a young boy, his father died, plunging the family into financial hardship. Education became a luxury he could barely afford. Then, at 14, a childhood accident with a bow and arrow left him blind in one eye. But what he lost in sight, he gained in singular, unshakable focus. Driven by ambition, a teenage Hill left Canada and made his way to the United States, eventually settling in the bustling river town of St. Paul, Minnesota. He was a whirlwind of activity, taking any job he could find. He worked as a clerk, a warehouse worker, and a shipping agent on the docks of the Mississippi River. Day in and day out, he watched goods come and go. He learned how things moved, where they came from, and where they needed to be. And in this constant flow of commerce, he understood a fundamental truth: transportation is power. This was the age of the railroad. Iron horses were thundering across the American landscape, promising progress and connection. But Hill saw a problem. Most railroad companies were a mess. They were chaotically managed, built with reckless speed, and heavily dependent on government subsidies and land grants. They burned through cash, laid shoddy tracks, and often collapsed under mountains of debt. Hill knew there had to be a better way. He envisioned a railroad built not on government handouts, but on sound business principles. A railroad built to be efficient, profitable, and permanent. His big chance came when he and a group of partners took control of a small, bankrupt railroad in Minnesota. To everyone else, it was a lost cause, a line to nowhere. But where others saw failure, Hill saw the seed of an empire. He immediately got to work. He wasn't just a manager in an office. He was hands-on. He tore up and rebuilt shoddy tracks. He streamlined operations to slash costs. He obsessed over improving service to attract more customers. His philosophy was simple: don't chase quick, flashy profits. Build for the long term. But Hill's genius wasn't just in running a railroad. He understood that a railroad is worthless without things to carry. So, he didn't just build tracks, he built entire economies along his routes. He launched campaigns to attract farmers and settlers from Europe and the eastern United States to the vast, empty lands of the northern plains. He didn't just sell them land, he set them up for success. He gave them high-quality seeds, provided prize-winning livestock to improve their herds, and even offered expert advice on modern farming techniques suited for the harsh climate. His logic was a virtuous cycle. More successful farms meant more grain, more cattle, and more goods to ship. More goods meant more traffic for his railroad. More traffic meant more profit, which he could then reinvest into expanding and improving the line. He wasn't just a railroad man, he was a master of systems, a community builder who understood that his success was directly tied to the prosperity of the people he served. This was a revolutionary idea at the time. While other tycoons were seen as extracting wealth, Hill was seen as creating it. The culmination of his life's work was the Great Northern Railway. It was an audacious dream, to build a transcontinental railroad across the northern tier of the United States, from the Great Lakes to the Pacific Ocean, and he was going to do it his way without a single acre of federal land grants or a dollar of government subsidies. Skeptics called him Hill's folly. The terrain was brutal, the winters were unforgiving, and the financial risks were immense. But Hill was relentless. He personally scouted the routes, sometimes on horseback, searching for the straightest lines and the lowest grades. He knew that even a small change in the steepness of a track could mean the difference between profit and loss over millions of tons of freight. He demanded the highest quality engineering and the most durable materials. Every bridge, every tunnel, every mile of track was built to last. He famously said, "Give me the best possible road, and I will get the traffic." While his competitors' over-leveraged empires crumbled during the financial panics that regularly swept the nation, the Great Northern stood strong. Hill's fiscal discipline and long-term vision made his railroad resilient. In fact, he often thrived in downturns, buying up the failed lines of his rivals at bargain prices and integrating them into his ever-expanding network. By the turn of the 20th century, James J. Hill, the one-eyed boy from a Canadian log cabin, had become one of the most powerful and respected businessmen in America. They called him the Empire Builder, and for good reason. His Great Northern Railway was a triumph of private enterprise, the only transcontinental line built without federal aid, and it was solidly profitable. He wasn't flashy like some of the other robber barons. He avoided the spotlight and focused on the work, on the tangible results of steel, steam, and settlement. But such immense power inevitably attracts scrutiny. Hill's ambition to consolidate his railroad empire and create a single, dominant transportation network in the Northwest put him on a collision course with competitors like the legendary J.P. Morgan and, eventually, the U.S. government. His attempt to merge his railroads into a massive holding company led to a landmark antitrust lawsuit. In the end, the Supreme Court ruled against him, ordering his trust to be broken up. But in a way, it didn't matter. The work was already done. The West was no longer a distant frontier. It was connected. Goods, people, and ideas now moved across the continent with unprecedented speed and efficiency. Markets expanded, new cities boomed, and the American economy was transformed. When James J. Hill died in 1916, he left behind much more than just a network of tracks and trains. He left a legacy woven into the very fabric of the nation. He had proven that a business could be both immensely profitable and a powerful force for public good. He didn't just build a railroad. He built the pathways that allowed modern America to grow. Thank you for watching. If you found this story of grit and vision inspiring, please hit the like button and subscribe for more stories of the people who shaped our world. We'll see you in the next one.